Hi everyone. In this video, I will be discussing 20 multiple choice questions on thermodynamics. This video will be useful for those who are preparing for various entrance exams and competitive exams in physics or chemistry, like NEET exam, ICAR exam, IIT JAM exam, CSR NECT exam. Uh, in this video, I'll be discussing questions from most of the questions from previous NEET question papers and some questions from Kerala PSC fingerprint searcher exams, other questions from IIT JAM exam and CSR NET exam. So let us start the discussion. I am going to the first question. I will read the first question. On a temperature T, entropy S diagram, the isothermals are. So how can we draw the isothermal on a temperature entropy diagram, TS diagram? I will draw a TS diagram. This represents the S axis, this represents the T axis. So isothermals means temperature is same, T is constant. So I have to draw an isothermal line. How can I draw an isothermal line? Isothermal line means T is constant, so I have to draw like this. So this is an isothermal. So this isothermal or constant temperature line is parallel to entropy axis, S axis. Isothermal line is parallel to S axis. So the answer is, correct option is A, parallel to S axis. Okay, I am going to the next question. The percentage efficiency of a Carnot engine working between the temperatures 27 degrees Celsius and 127 degrees Celsius. Here, this is the low temperature. Low temperature is, in the case of a Carnot engine, when we write the efficiency, low temperature is T2, the sink temperature, and this is the source temperature T1. Okay. So, what is the equation for efficiency? It is 1 minus T2 by T1. Okay, so this is 1 minus. What is T1? T1 is 127 degrees Celsius, the source temperature. When we convert it into Kelvin, 127 plus 273, which is equal to 400 Kelvin, right? And what is T2? T2 is 27 degrees Celsius. I am converting it into Kelvin. So 27 plus 273, which is equal to 300 Kelvin. Okay, so what will be the efficiency? 1 minus T2 by T1. T2 is 300 divided by T1 is 400. So we can cancel the zeros, and 3 by 4 is 0.75. 1 minus 0.75. So this is equal to 0.25. You know that to convert it into percentage, we have to multiply with 100, then it will be 25%. 25% is the correct answer. So option A is the correct answer. Now going to the next question. It is a NEET exam question. In the given VT diagram, what is the relation between pressure P1 and P2? What is the relation between P1 and P2? You can see the options: P2 greater than P1, P2 less than P1, cannot be predicted, P2 equal to P1. Okay, so what we have to do in this question is that you can draw an isotherm. Isotherm means constant temperature line. This is a constant temperature line. So so you can see that corresponding to pressure P1, okay, the corresponding volume is V1, and here the corresponding volume is V2. So corresponding to P1, from the graph of P1, at this particular temperature I got a volume V1. From the graph of P2 I got a volume V2. So V2 is the volume corresponding to P2, and V1 is volume corresponding to P1. Okay, so it is very clear that from the graph V2 is greater than V1, right? V2 is greater than V1. It is very clear. V2 is above V1, so it is greater than V1. Now I have taken these two volumes at constant temperature. At constant temperature, we can apply Boyle's law for a gas. what is Boyle's law? Pressure is inversely proportional to volume at constant temperature. Okay, pressure is inversely proportional to volume. So, if the volume is higher, pressure will be lower. Okay, so you can see that V2 is greater than V1. So, this implies P2 is less than P1. V2 is higher, so P2 will be lower. So, P2 is less than P1. This is the answer. So, the correct answer is option B. So, this is how you can solve this type of questions. Take an isotherm. Okay, in some cases you can take a isobar. In this question you have to take an isotherm. So at constant temperature you can apply Boyle's law. Pressure will be inversely proportional to volume. So here V2 is greater than V1, so you can say that P2 is less than P1. So it is the answer. Now this is another question. Okay, here the equation state for 5 gram of oxygen at a pressure P and temperature T when occupying a volume V will be. Okay, so here we have to find the equation of state for this 5 gram of oxygen. You know the equation of state is what? PV is equal to nRT. When you look at the options, you can see that the equations are there, but the value of N is the question. The value of N is the question. So how can we find the number of moles? You know that N is the number of moles. N is the number of moles. How can you calculate the number of moles? We have the formula. Given mass divided by molecular mass. Okay, what is the given mass? You can see that 5 gram of oxygen. So 5 gram is the given mass, and what is the molecular mass? Molecular mass of oxygen is 16 into 2. What is that? 32, right? This is the molecular mass of oxygen. So it is 32 gram. So here it will be 5 by 32. So what will be the equation? When you substitute for N, you will get PV is equal to 5 by 32 RT. So this is the equation. So which is the correct option? Option B is the correct option. Now going to the next question. This is a just question. Question asked for just exam. A diatomic ideal gas at room temperature is expanded at a constant pressure P0. If the heat absorbed by the gas is Q equal to 14 joules, what is the maximum work in joules that can be extracted from the system? Here in the question, the heat absorbed delta Q is given, or Q is given. I am writing it as delta Q. It is 14 joule. And from first law, you know that delta Q is equal to what? Delta U plus delta W. Right? We have to find the maximum work available. Maximum work available from the system. So, you have to find delta W. From this equation, from this first law of thermodynamics, you can write it is delta Q minus delta U. We have the value of delta Q, what that is 14 joule, but we don't know what is internal energy. Internal energy. How can we find the internal energy? How can we find the internal energy? So here you have two important equations to use. Here this delta Q can be written as Cp times delta T. For 1 mole of a gas, you can write delta Q as Cp delta T. If we substitute here, you know that delta Q is 14, it is given in the question, and Cp, it is given that it is a diatomic ideal gas. For diatomic gas, what is Cp? How can we find Cp? What is degree of freedom for diatomic gas? Degree of freedom is how much? For diatomic gas, it is 3 translation plus 2 rotation. At room temperature, there will be only translation degrees of freedom and rotational degrees of freedom. There will not be any vibrational degrees of freedom. So 3 plus 2. I think you know that there will be only 2 rotational degrees of freedom for diatomic molecule, because when the molecule rotates in its own axis, it cannot be counted as a degree of freedom because no kinetic energy is associated with that. So this is 5. How can you find Cv? Generally Cv can be found out using this formula, degree of freedom by 2 into R. So it is 5 by 2R. Okay, now we have CV. How can you find CP? CP is CV plus R. Mayer's relation. It is Mayer's relation. So it is 5 by 2 R plus R. So what is this value? 7 by 2 R. 7 by 2 R. Okay, so I will substitute here for CP as 7 by 2 R. 7 by 2 R into delta T. So from this equation you can find delta T. So you can cancel this 7 and 14, so it will be 2. And what will be delta T from this equation? It will be 2 into 2, 4, 4 by R, 4 by, it will be 4 by R, right? 4. So we got delta T, but we have to find the internal energy. How can we find the internal energy? We have another equation. Delta U is equal to CV delta T. Okay, is this equation correct? Actually, by definition, delta Q is equal to CV delta T. Okay, actually by definition, delta Q is equal to CV delta T. But for a system at constant volume, for a gas at constant volume, you can say that delta Q is equal to delta U plus, it is P delta V, work is P delta V. For a system at constant volume, delta V is 0, so delta Q is equal to what? Delta U. So for a system at constant volume, you can write delta U instead of delta Q. So so that is why this equation has come. CV is 5 by 2. We have here CV 5 by 2 R. Into what is delta T? We have got it from here. It is 4 by R. So what will be the final value? 2, 4 cancels 2. It is 10 joule. 10 joule. This is the maximum available work. 10 joule is the answer. 10 joule. Sorry. It is delta U only. Now we have to find the work done. What is work done? Delta Q, it is given, and minus delta U, 10 joule. Okay, 10 joule. So it is 4 is the answer. 4 joule is the correct answer. So this is the correct answer. Okay. So remember these equations. Delta Q is equal to CP delta T, and delta U is equal to CV delta T. First law, I think you will remember this equation, not this equation. These are very useful equations, and not how to find CV and CP from degree of freedom. Okay, F by 2 into R will give CV, and when you have got CV, you can add R to get CP. Now going to another question. It is a just exam question. The efficiency of a perfectly reversible heat engine operating between absolute temperature T and 0 is equal to, so this is T Kelvin and this is 0 Kelvin. So you know that usually we take the lower temperature as the sink temperature. We have to take like that. T2 is equal to 0 Kelvin. Yeah, this is T2. And what is T1? The source temperature is the higher temperature, which is T Kelvin. Okay, so what will be the efficiency? 1 minus T2 by T1. So substituting 1 minus T divided by, sorry, not T, 1 minus 0 divided by T2 is 0, 0 divided by T. So this will be 1 minus 0, it is 1. So if the sink temperature is 0 Kelvin, the efficiency will be 1. But second law of thermodynamics, the Kelvin Planck statement says that is never possible, because you know that we couldn't attain 0 Kelvin, or we cannot attain 0 Kelvin. It is the lowest temperature. Okay, so engine cannot have efficiency 1 or 100% efficiency is not possible. That is the second law of thermodynamics, the Kelvin Planck statement of second law of thermodynamics. Okay, so this is the correct option. Now we are going to the seventh question. Okay, this is CSIR net question, but it is not a complicated question. You know that it is a higher level exam, but we can do the question. Here the idea is that I will read the question. A given quantity of gas is taken from state A to C reversibly by two paths, A to C directly and A to B to C, as shown in figure. So here the gas is taken in two paths, A to C directly, that means this path directly, and the other one is what? A to C through B. Okay, this path. But the starting point and the end point are the same. starting point and the final point, finishing point are the same. So since the initial and final states are the same, the change in entropy will be same in both cases. The delta U here will be equal to delta U here. Delta is equal on both sides because in both the process starting at A and ending at C. Okay, the internal energy is a state function. It is not a path function. It is a state function. So it depends on the initial and final states only, not on the path. It's a state function. But heat and work are path functions. But internal energy is a state function. So, okay, so I will write the quantities. During the process A to C, the work done by the gas is 100 joule. Okay, here the work done, delta W is equal to 100 joule. Now, and the heat absorbed, delta Q is equal to what? That is 150 joule. So what is delta U? You can find delta U from here. What will be that? From first law it is delta Q minus delta W. So what will be this? 150 minus 100, right? So it is 50 joule, right? 50 joule. So the same 50 joule can be used here because it's a process. Okay, it's a process. Both the process are starting at the same point and ending at the same point. So the change in internal energy will be the same, 50 joule. Okay, now what is given here in the question? If during the process A to B to C, the work done by the gas is 30 joule. Here work is given. In A to B to C, in this path, work is given. Delta W is equal to what? 30 joule. What we have to find is that the heat absorbed is our question. What is delta Q? What is the formula? By first law of thermodynamics, delta Q is equal to delta U plus delta W. So we have delta U and delta W. So it is 50 plus 30. What will be the answer? 80 joule. 80 joule is the answer. It's a very good question, but not difficult. Okay. Entropy, internal energy is a state function. Internal energy is a state function. Now going to the question number 8, this is an IIT JAM question which is asked in 2017. Okay, here there is a Carnot engine. Consider Carnot engine operating between two temperatures. So here the high temperature has to be taken as the source temperature and the low temperature as the sink temperature. Okay, everywhere it is like that. And the engine performs this much of work. So this is the work done. This is the work done. Okay. 1000 joule is the work done per cycle. The heat extracted per cycle from the high temperature reservoir. The heat extracted per cycle from the high temperature reservoir is. So we have to find the value of Q1. It is Q1. Heat extracted from high temperature reservoir is Q1. This is a question. You know that in a Carnot engine, in a heat engine, what is the principle? There is working substance. There is this is source at temperature T1, this is sink at temperature T2, this is working substance. I will write a short form. Working substance absorbs a heat of amount Q1 from the source and transfers and converts a part of the Q1, a part of Q1 into a part of this heat into work. Okay, and the remaining part is given to the sink. Okay, so what is the working? Work is substance absorbs heat of amount Q1 from the source, a part of heat is converted into useful work and the other part is given to source. So the absorbed heat, the heat absorbed from the high temperature reservoir, this is the high temperature reservoir, this is the low temperature reservoir. So it is Q1. So what is the equation for the efficiency of the heat engine and the Carnot engine? For any heat engine we have the formula, the output by input. This is the output. Useful work is the output. What is input? This is the input. The Q1 is the input. Q1 is the input. Okay, Q1 is input and W is the output. So it is W by Q1, and you can write W as Q1 minus Q2 by Q1. If you apply separate division, Q1 by Q1 is 1 and minus Q2 by Q1. For a Carnot engine, you can write this as You can simplify this as 1 minus T2 by T1. It is only for a Carnot engine. If it is said in the question, it is a Carnot engine, you can use this formula. So efficiency can be written in many forms. So I am using this form, W by Q1, and this form. For this question, I am using these two forms. So eta is equal to W by Q1 and eta is equal to 1 minus T2 by T1. So I am using this. W by Q1 is equal to what? 1 minus T2 by T1. Using this formula, you can find what we have to find? Q1, the heat extracted from the high temperature reservoir. So I will substitute these values. W is what? W is 1000 joule. It is given in the question. Q1 we have to find out. 1 minus what is T2? T2 is 400 Kelvin. What is T1? T1 is 600 Kelvin. 600 Kelvin. So yeah, okay, it has to be in Kelvin. I will erase. 1000 by Q1 is equal to 1 minus 400 by 600 is what? 2 by 3. 2 by 3, right? So it will be 1 by 3. 1 minus 2 by 3 is 1 by 3. So 1000 by Q1 is equal to 1 by 3. So if you cross multiply, you will get Q1 is equal to 3000. 3000 joule. It is the correct answer. 3000 joule is the correct answer. Okay. So here the answer is 3000 joule. It is a numerical answer type question in IIT JAM. Okay. Now we are going to question number 9. Question number 9. Which one of the figures correctly represents TS diagram for a Carnot cycle? Carnot engine. Okay. Or Carnot cycle. Okay, I will draw the Carnot. The PV diagram for a Carnot engine, which is very familiar to us. Pressure and volume. Okay. So there are 4 processes. First there is an isothermal expansion, then there is an adiabatic expansion, then there is an isothermal compression, and finally there is an adiabatic compression. Okay. So there are 4 processes. This one, this one, this one, and this one. Okay. So this is what? This is an isothermal expansion. Isothermal expansion. This is an adiabatic expansion. What is this? Isothermal compression. What is this? Adiabatic compression. Okay. Okay. So what should be the TS diagram? So we will check it in detail. In an isothermal expansion, what happens? In isothermal expansion, you know that T is constant. T is constant. What happens to the entropy? For an isothermal expansion, the system should absorb some heat. For an isothermal expansion, system should absorb some heat. So when the system absorbs some heat, the entropy will increase. When heat is absorbed by the system, entropy will increase. And when the system releases some heat, entropy will decrease. So here the entropy will increase. T is constant and entropy will increase. T is constant and entropy should go to the right. It should increase. So what should be the graph? TS graph. Suppose this is the starting point. Here T is constant. T is constant means line parallel to S axis, entropy axis. Since it takes, where should it go? To the right or left? Entropy should increase. Why entropy is increasing? System absorbs some heat, so entropy should increase. So it go to the right. It go to the right. It should go to the right. And in the second process, this is the second process. Second process, it is an adiabatic expansion. So there is no change in the entropy. Entropy change is 0. Entropy is a constant. Entropy is a constant. So the line should be vertical in this graph. Line should be vertical. Entropy should be a constant. What happens to temperature? Is it decreasing or increasing? I mean, whether it should go upward or downward. We have to check that. It's an adiabatic expansion. In an adiabatic expansion, system uses its internal energy to expand. So what happens to its internal energy? Internal energy decreases and temperature decreases. During an adiabatic expansion, temperature decreases. Cooling is produced. Temperature decreases. So this graph should go down since the temperature is decreasing. Now, it's an isothermal compression. Isothermal compression means temperature is constant. So it has to be like this. But towards the right or left, here in this process, system releases some heat. System releases some heat to the surrounding because it is an isothermal compression. So system should release some heat to the surroundings. That is Q2. So the entropy, since the system is releasing heat to the surroundings, its entropy will be decreasing or increasing? It will be decreasing. Okay, so temperature is constant, entropy should decrease. So it should go left, not to the right. Okay, and finally, it is an adiabatic compression. Adiabatic compression means entropy is constant. So the graph should be vertical. And where should it go? Down or up? You can see that during adiabatic compression, heating is produced. Temperature, that means temperature increases. So the graph is upwards. So which one is the correct option? You can see that option B is the correct option. You can see that option B is the correct option. Okay, now we will go to the next question. Question number 10. It's a NEET exam question. The efficiency of an ideal heat engine working between freezing point and boiling point of water. So the source temperature and the sink temperature are given as freezing point of water and boiling point of water. So what is the source temperature? What is T1? T1 is the higher temperature, which is the boiling point of water. What is the boiling point of water? 100 degrees Celsius. So when we convert it into Kelvin, it is 100 plus 273. It's equal to 373 Kelvin. Okay, so this is the high temperature, the boiling point of water. It is the source temperature. What is the sink temperature? It is freezing point of water. What is freezing point of water? 0 degrees Celsius. 0 degrees Celsius. So 0 plus 273, which is equal to 273 itself. Okay, so what will be the efficiency? It is 1 minus T2 by T1. Okay, 1 minus T2 by T1. T2 by 2. So what is T2? 273 divided by T1, 373. Okay, so if you calculate this, you will get a value very close to 27, 0.27, and if you multiply it with 100, you can write it in percentage. It is nearly 27%. So this will be the correct answer. Okay, since it is an MCQ question, you can simply do a rough calculation, you can take this as nearly 380 something, then you can do it faster. Okay, otherwise you can do like this, 373 minus, if you take LCM, it is 373 minus 273 divided by 373. Okay, it's 373, so it will be 100 divided by 373. So you can approximate it as 100 divided by 400. So what will be this? 1 by 4, 0.25. So you will get the idea that it is nearly this value. Okay. Okay, I think it is clear to you. Next question. A thermodynamic system is taken through the cycle ABCD as shown in figure. Heat rejected by the gas during the cyclic process. We have to find the heat rejected by the gas. During this process. Heat rejected. Okay, so this is the cycle. It's a cyclic process. ABCD. A to B, B to C, then C to D, and it is back to A. Then only it will be a cyclic process. It's a cyclic process. So since it is a cyclic process, delta U will be what? Delta U will be 0. Delta U will be 0. Okay, the change in internal energy will be 0 because the system starting from A, it is coming back to A, coming back to the initial state. So delta U will be 0. Delta U will be 0. The change in internal energy will be 0 because internal energy is a state function. So from the first law of thermodynamics, I will use the short form TD. You have delta Q is equal to delta U plus delta W. Since delta U equal to 0, you can write delta Q is equal to delta W. Yes, delta Q is equal to delta W. Now heat rejected has to be found out. Heat rejected by the gas during the cyclic process has to be found out. So for that you can find the work done during the cyclic process. How can you find the work done? Work done is the area inside this loop. For a cyclic process, work done is the area enclosed by the loop. Now you can see that it is a rectangle. So it is the formula, you can use the formula length into breadth. What is the length? This is the length. Take this as the length. So it is 3V minus 2V. Sorry, minus V. Into what is the breadth? Breadth is this height. What is that? 2P minus P. 2P minus P. So it will be 2V times 2P minus P is P. So it will be 2PV. 2PV will be the heat rejected and delta W is the work done. So here in a cyclic process both are equal. Heat rejected is equal to what? Heat is equal to work done. So 2PV is the answer. Option A is the correct option. Okay, now I will go to another question. Question number 12. A gas is taken through the cycle A to B to C to A as shown in the figure. What is the net work done by the gas? Okay, as I told in the previous question, by finding the area of this loop, okay, the area enclosed by this loop, A to B to C to A, we will get the work done. Work done is equal to area enclosed. Now you can see that it's a triangle, so it is half BH. Half times, what is a base? Base is this. Okay, so here there is a printing mistake. This is 10 raised to minus 3. Okay, so this value is this is 7. Okay, actually there is a small error, but it has to be 7. Okay, this is 2. 7 minus 2 times, what is the height? What is the altitude? This is 6. Here not only 7 minus 2, with this there is 10 raised to minus 3. 10 raised to minus 3 is there. So when we take the base, you have to take 7 minus 2. 7 minus 2 is this length into 10 raised to minus 3. And what is the height? It is 6 minus 2. 6 minus 2, this height. 6 minus 2 multiplied by 10 raised to 5. 10 raised to 5. Okay, so this is half into 5. This is 5. This is 4 into 10 to the power of 2. So this for 2 and 4 cancels. It is 10 into 10 to the power of 3, or it is 10 into 10 to the power of 2. It is 10 to the power of 3, which is 1000 joule. 1000 joule. Okay, sorry, 1000 joule. 1000 joule is the answer. Option A is the correct answer. Okay. Now going to the next question. During an isothermal expansion, a confined ideal gas does this much work, minus 150 joule of work against its surroundings. This implies that actually when we take the sign convention physics, we usually take it as 150 joule positive because it is the work done during an expansion. Okay, in chemistry usually we are using the other sign convention. What increases internal energy is taken as positive. So when work is done on the system, that increases the internal energy, so that work is taken as positive, and the work done by the system or the expansion is taken as negative. No problem here. You can see that is an expansion. Okay, it's an isothermal expansion. How an isothermal expansion takes place? What happens in an isothermal expansion? In an isothermal expansion, system absorbs heat from the surroundings. Suppose it's a system like this. Yes, it's a system like this. Suppose there is a piston, airtight piston. It's a gaseous system. How can an isothermal expansion takes place? System absorbs heat from the surroundings and it expands, or you can say that it expands means this piston will be moving up. Okay, it will be converting that heat into work without any change in the internal energy, so that there will not be any change in the temperature. Okay, so this is the typical isothermal process. So heat is converted into what? Work. The absorbed heat is converted into work. So when the system does an external work, it should absorb some heat. Okay, so the heat absorbed from the surrounding is converted as work. This is the definition of isothermal process. Heat absorbed from the surroundings, it is completely converted as work. It is the definition of isothermal process. So here the system does some work, or it expands. That means a work is done by the system, so it should absorb a heat from the surroundings. The same amount of heat should be absorbed from the surroundings. So 150 joule of heat has been added to the gas. From where? From the surroundings. 150 joule of heat is added to the gas from the surroundings. That means the system absorbs that much amount of heat. So this is the correct option. This is the correct option. Okay, now going to the next question. If delta U and delta W represent the increase in internal energy and the work done by the system respectively in a thermodynamic process, which of the following is true? Which of the following is true? First one, we will look to the options one by one. So first one is adiabatic process. By first law of thermodynamics, first of all, what is the definition of adiabatic process? No heat enters or leaves the system. So delta Q 0. No heat enters or leaves the system for an adiabatic process. Okay. So from first law you can write delta Q is equal to delta U plus delta W. Since no heat enters or leaves the system, this delta Q equal to 0. So you can write delta U is equal to minus delta W. Minus delta W. This is true for an adiabatic process. This is true for an adiabatic process. So the first one is correct. First one is correct for an adiabatic process. Okay. So this is the correct option. Now going to the 15th question. Okay. Figure below shows two paths that may be taken by a gas to go from a state A to state C. So gas is going from A to C like this. It is one of the paths. Okay, and the other path, the gas is directly going from A to C, not through B. So there are two paths, A to B to C is first path, the other path is A to C directly. Okay, if the process AB, in the process AB 400 joule of heat is added. So in this part 400 joule, let it be Q1. Heat is added to the system, and in the path BC 100 joule of heat is added to the system. So here 100 joule is added, let it be Q2. The heat absorbed by the system in the process AC. Suppose the heat absorbed by the system in the AC is Q3. Suppose it is Q3. Okay. It is Q3. So I will write Q2. Q2 is equal to what? Q2 is 100 joule. Okay, in this process A to C, the heat absorbed is Q3. Okay. Now, if we take, we have to find the value of Q3, right? We have to find the value of Q3 here. Okay. So now in this process, it is a, suppose it is a cyclic process. You can take it as a cyclic process. Okay, how can you take it as a cyclic process? These are two paths, but if you take a cyclic process, a cyclic process. We are considering a cyclic process like A2, B2, C2, A2, B2, C2, A. So the net work in a cyclic process, delta U equals 0. Therefore, the delta Q is equal to what? Delta W. From first law, delta Q is equal to delta W. I think it is clear to you. Delta Q is equal to delta W. We have written it previously. Okay, from first law, delta U is 0, so delta Q is equal to delta W. So, what is delta Q? What is delta Q in this process? Q1 plus Q2 plus Q3. Okay, let it be Q3. Q1 plus Q2 plus Q3. Okay, that is equal to what? The work done. That is equal to the work done. Okay, the net heat absorbed will be equal to the work done. How can you find the work done? Work done means the area enclosed by this loop. Okay, I will find the work done. I have taken it as a cyclic process like this. So the work done is the area enclosed by the loop. So what is that? Half into, what is a base? It is BC. BC is what? 4 minus 2 into 10 raised to minus 3. Okay, this is 4. Okay, this is 2. 4 minus 2 into 10 raised to minus 3. And what is the height? What is altitude? It is 6 minus 2 into 10 raised to 4. Right? 6 minus 2 into 10 raised to 4. So what will be the answer? Half into 2 into 10 raised to minus 3 into 4 into 10 raised to 4. So this will be, this 2 cancels, and it will be 4 into 10 raised to minus 3, 10 raised to 4. So it is 10 itself. So 40 joule will be the value of Q1 plus Q2 plus Q3. Okay. Now what is Q3? Okay. Now what is Q3? Q3 will be this 40 joule. Actually, you can substitute the values. Q1 is 400 joule, Q2 is 100 joule, and Q3, let it be like that, 40 joule. So Q3 is what? Q3 is what? Actually, when we take in the reverse way, the problem is that actually Q3 is the heat absorbed by the system when it go through in the process AC, but here we have taken the cyclic process. We have taken A to B, B to C, and C to A. It is not A to C, it is C to A. So it is better to put a minus sign here, because in the reverse process heat will not be absorbed, it will be rejected to the surrounding. Okay, when I take from C to A, the heat will be rejected. When I take from A to C, heat will be absorbed. It is given in the question. Heat will be absorbed when we take it from A to C. Heat will be absorbed. So when we come from C to A, the heat will be rejected. So it is better to put a minus sign here. Otherwise, you will have an additional minus sign. No problem, but you have to keep that in mind. So Q3 will be what? Q3 will be, when it is taken to the right hand side, it is 500 minus 40 is equal to Q3, which implies Q3 is equal to 460 joule. Okay, so this is the answer. I think it is clear to you. Now coming to some easy questions. I will read the question. Question number 16. A gas is compressed isothermally to half its initial volume. The same gas is compressed separately through an adiabatic process until its volume is again reduced to half. Okay, so the gas is compressed separately, one through isothermal process, other through adiabatic process. Then compressing the options are like this: compressing the gas isothermally will require more work to be done. Okay, and there are other options. So I got the idea. So this question is about the work done. Which is greater? Which work is greater during isothermal or adiabatic? So I will draw a PV diagram. using a PV diagram I can explain that. Suppose this is the volume V and this is the half volume V by 2. Now a gas is taken from, gas is compressed isothermally to half its initial volume, so let it be, the curve will be like this. Okay, this is the half volume curve, this is isothermal. Okay, you know what is the slope of this graph? What is the slope of this isothermal curve? Slope is equal to minus P by V. Minus P by V is the slope. And what about the adiabatic process? When the gas is taken adiabatically, the slope will be greater. What is the equation for slope of adiabatic curve? Gamma P by V. Gamma P by V. It is, gamma is greater than 1. Okay, so this will be more steeper. It is negative. Okay, but in the diagram it will be steeper because this magnitude is greater, so it will be like this. Adiabatic process will be going like this. Okay, it is more steeper than the isothermal, that is the idea. Okay, so reaching to the same volume, same half volume, both are reaching to half volume, but this will be steeper than the isothermal. Adiabatic. So you can see that, you know that the area under PV diagram gives the work done. Area under PV diagram gives the work done. So for the isothermal, this is the area. Okay. For adiabatic, you can see that the area is more. The area under this curve is more. So adiabatic has more work. Okay. Adiabatic process has more work. Compressing the gas through adiabatic process will require more work to be done. B is the correct option. Okay, so keep this diagram in your memory. Question 17, it's a neat question. It's a simple question regarding first law. You can see 1 ton joule of heat is added to a gaseous system whose internal energy is 40 joule. Then the amount of work, external work done. So it's completely first law. Delta Q is equal to delta U plus delta W. What is given the question? 1 ton joule of heat is added to a system whose internal energy is, okay, so heat added is 1 ton joule. Internal energy is 40 joule. Then the amount of, actually this is not the internal energy, it is the change in internal energy. Here there is a missing. We can do the question only if it is the change in energy, so there is a mistake. Change in internal energy is 40 joule. Then the amount of external work done, we have to find delta W. What will be delta W? That will be 1 ton minus 40. What is this value? 70, right? 70 joule. It will be 70 joule. So this is the correct option. This is the correct option. Okay. Now coming to the last 3 questions. The internal energy change in a system that has absorbed 2 calories of heat. How much heat is absorbed? 2 calories. How much is 2 calories? 2 kilocalories, sorry. It is in the question, it is 2 kilocalories. 2 kilocalories. So it is, kilo means 1000, right? So it is 2000 calories. 1 calorie is how much joule? 1 calorie is 4.2 joule. 4.2 joule. So it is 8400 joule, right? Sorry, 8400 joule. Now, what is given? And done 500 joule of work. How much work is done? 500 joule. So the internal energy change, we have to find the internal energy change. What will be delta U? Delta U will be delta Q minus delta W. So it is 8400 minus 500. So what will be the value? 7900 joule. So the option, correct option is C. Correct option is C. Okay. Now coming to the last 2 questions. Which of the following is not a thermodynamic function? Thermodynamic function means state function. We call it a state function or state variable. Okay, thermodynamic function. Okay, enthalpy is a here it is, which is not a thermodynamic function. We got it. Enthalpy is a thermodynamic function. Gives free energy is a thermodynamic function. Work is not a thermodynamic function. Okay, work is not a state variable. Work and heat are not state variables. Okay, so this is a common question. You remember that work and heat are not state functions, and all other quantities like temperature, pressure, volume, mass, heat capacity, internal energy, enthalpy, Gibbs free energy, Helmholtz free energy, all these are state functions. Okay, so this is our answer. In this question, this is our answer. All others are what thermodynamic functions. So this is the answer. Option B is the correct answer. Now, first law of thermodynamics is a consequence of conservation of what? Conservation of what? Energy. Because you see that in the left side there is energy, heat. Heat is a form of energy. Here it is internal energy, and on the other term is what? Work. It also is a form of energy. So the questions are over. Okay, these questions will be very useful for you. I think you have got a good idea about how to solve the problems in thermodynamics. Okay, thank you very much.